Capitol Hill yesterday during Google CEO's House Judiciary Committee hearing. Tech analyst and commentator Ryan Khurana joining me from Toronto tonight. Ryan, good to have you back here on 5 at 6:30. I think first and foremost, when we saw all this play out yesterday, and I'm going to ask if you guys can lower the music just a little bit for me. Explain to me why this was a big deal.
Well, it was always expected that Congress would be quite hostile to Google when they finally got their CEO in. There was a hearing in September to cover election meddling, and Google refused to send either its own CEO, Sundar Pichai, or the CEO of Alphabet, Larry Page. And there was quite a hostile tone because of the empty seating, so in anticipation of this hearing, bringing him in the first time, there was this belief that Congress would go quite aggressive against the company and try to find out anything that they believed that Google was evading before.
Okay, so I know that the focus that a lot of politicians have had when it comes to tech giants like Facebook and Twitter and Google is that there's this expectation, or there's this suspicion that there's some sort of pervasive bias, some political bias on the platforms. You know, I know you pay attention to this sort of thing. What did Google say, and what is your estimation? Is this certainly an issue that tech companies have to be cognizant about?
So what Mr. Pichai said in his hearing yesterday, and what was asserted by both Twitter and Facebook before, is the way they moderate content is generally algorithmic. For Twitter and Facebook, unlike Google, they usually have human reviewers as well because it's not as clear-cut which cases violate their norms. But with Google, the decisions are a fairly robust process. It's algorithmically decided. They don't have humans put in their political input. And therefore, there is no likelihood of some systematic bias from the company. If someone is biased against unintentionally, that's not because Google's actively trying to do that. It may even reflect the underlying media atmosphere. If there's more left-wing sites that appear on the top, it's probably because they're more popular rather than Google trying to cater it that way.
When you heard some of the lawmakers asking questions, and we've had a few guests, we've talked about this over the last 24 hours, but again, I want to get your take on this. There seems to be a disconnect between what a lot of lawmakers perceive in the tech world and what they perceive as the understanding. There seems to be a general lack of understanding about how these companies operate on an organic level.
Absolutely. This was the fourth time a representative from a large tech company was brought into Congress in 2018, and it didn't seem to be a lot of advancement on the hand of the members of Congress in understanding the technologies they were asking about. A lot of the questions were fairly simplistic questions about how search operates and how they moderate their content and how decisions are made, which are publicly available on their website, which are things that are easy to find. So it's quite disappointing that after all this time, members of Congress still can't get that technical literacy to understand the tech companies that they're interrogating.
Well, I think it would do them well to do some orientation with tech experts like yourself and just, hey, this is how it works. Ryan Khurana, thank you very much for joining us tonight here. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.